I'm Hemant Mehta, and I'm flying solo today, and you're listening to the podcast for FriendlyAtheist.com. You can now listen to all of our episodes and see show notes at FriendlyAtheistPodcast.com. And by the way, we now have a merchandise shop on our website, so if you want your podcast swag, and you know you do, go to our website and click on the store tab. Chaz Stevens is an activist who's especially passionate about the First Amendment. In response to a nativity scene in the Florida State Capitol building last year, he put up an 8-foot-tall Festivus pole made of Pabst Blue Ribbon cans, earning him attention from across the nation. This year, he's attempting something similar with a 6-foot pole covered in rainbow colors, and he's hoping to take it far beyond Florida. He's also been an advocate for invocations at city council meetings because he doesn't want them there, and we'll talk about what he's doing to try to put an end to it, or at least to have it be a little more inclusive than a lot of these city councils want to be. So, Chaz, thank you for being with us.
Happy holidays. Merry Festivus to you and your fellow heathens.
Thanks so much. Okay, so explain to me what's going on. Let's start with the invocations. So in Florida and everywhere else, they are allowed to have religious invocations at city council meetings. And there are two ways we can go about fighting this. We could say, no, you can't say anymore because the Supreme Court ruled on this. So we can't say you can't have those invocations. But the option is, if they're allowing Christians to deliver invocations, they have to allow other groups as well. So we've seen a lot of atheists try to deliver invocations as well. What are you doing to fight this?
So 2 Mays ago, when they passed the SCOTUS ruling, right, the Supreme Court ruling of the City of Greece, New York versus Galloway, I recognized when it passed what happened. And what happened to me, from my opinion, was the Supreme Court opened the door and Satan and I walked in. So a lot of people are taking the tact. My friends in Central Florida, Dave Williamson, the Central Florida Free Thinkers people, and those guys are doing the course of let us have our moments. So secularists, humanists, those type of folks are up doing that. My point is I don't want to see any of that. Here's the deal. I walk into my city commission meeting. I want to get my roofing permit okay. I don't want to sit through church. I just want to get my roofing permit okay. So what I do, from my standpoint, is I go to the boogeyman. I play the boogeyman card, which is Satan and I want to give a satanic invocation. What the hell a satanic invocation is, I've yet to be challenged for that, so that'll be interesting when we cross that bridge. And in the South Florida area, 4 cities have basically moved to a moment of silence. So there is sort of a third option, which is, or a second option now, which is we can force them just to kind of panic and go back the other way. Other cities have doubled down. They've moved to what we believe to be illegal against the law, against federal law, which is allowing city officials to give the prayer from the dais. So there's a couple towns in South Florida that are doing that. And a few other towns, we're actually going to sue them. First of the year, after we get through this Festivus season, we're going to turn around and we're going to sue them. We're going to make a mockery out of it in court. That's our game plan.
So basically, just to summarize what you're saying there, yes, if the city council members are delivering the invocation, that seems to be a losing argument for them in court. They can't do that. You're saying you're going to sue them over that in the coming year. But let me go back to the invocations. You're saying you went up to 4 different city councils saying, I'm a Satanist and I want to give a Satanist invocation. And they had only 2 options. They could say, okay, you're allowed to do that. Or they shut down their invocations altogether, and they chose to shut them down and move to a moment of silence. And, okay, let me get this right, because I read somewhere that your satanic invocation would involve twerking and a mariachi band. Is that right?
So think about this for just a second, okay? I've opened a church, the first Pompano Beach Church of Satan, so therefore I'm a tax-deductible deduction now. I can take money and go interview twerkers and make it a tax deduction. How fucking cool is that? Seriously.
So what would your invocation look like? I'm just trying to figure this out.
Listen, it's not a religion you can get behind, quite literally. So yeah, and the other thing, so we wanted a mariachi band because who can get pissed off listening to La Bamba, right? That's a good theme song. Twerking girls or twerking boys, or whatever it is, we're open-minded around here. And then the other thing is, the Catholics have the body of Christ and the blood of Christ. Well, we offer cold beer and nachos. So we're trying to parlay some of the good ideas of Christianity, but update them for the 21st century.
Okay, so it sounds like you're just trolling all of these people, though. So couldn't they just write you off and say, you're not really a Satanist, you're just making a mockery of religion, so we don't have to allow you to deliver an invocation, and legally they could get away with it, just like some Pastafarians want to wear a strainer on their head to get a driver's license picture, and you could say, look, you're not a real religion, so we don't have to put you under the same umbrella of rules that apply to religions and maybe even atheism.
I would love, that would be a win for me, because then
I
would get to argue. Yeah. I would get to argue over what is a real religion. What separates my fake religion from your fake religion?
So you want them to challenge you and say,
I'm sorry?
You want them to challenge you and say, you're not a real religion, because that's a fight you want to have.
Well, what's comparatively on the scheme of things, which is worse? A guy with a mariachi band or thousands and thousands and thousands of little altar boys that have been raped by the Catholic priests over the years. $3.9 billion spent by the Catholic Church settling, sexual abuse claims, which is, if that's a real religion, I'd rather have a fake one myself.
Okay, but legally speaking, I'm just curious, like, if they reject you, do you think you have a chance in court to say, look, I'm a religion and I have a church, and they did something illegal by denying me my religious freedom?
Comparatively, in the scheme of things, I am a tiny, 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 tiny little speck. So do I think that I'm going to alter the trajectory of this with my lawsuit, whether I win or whether I lose? No. But I at least get the conversation started. I at least continue the conversation, and I at least get to interject my very loud mouth into the conversation. So whether we win, whether we lose, this whole thing, for my whole decade plus of activism, it's always been a losing proposition. But every once in a while, I score a win. So I keep on undeterred. I'm just too stupid to know any better.
Okay, so let's say one of these city councils says, fine, you can deliver a satanic invocation. What is that going to look like?
Really, I don't know the answer to that. There's not like you can go online and get the internet, the dummies guide for satanic invocations, right? I really don't know what that is. My lawyer, who is my civil rights lawyer, who actually is the guy that actually helps me build the Festivus polls, and he's an atheist and a proponent of all the things that I believe in. He's come up with some really creepy ideas. My idea, like the Festivus poll, it's going to be rated G. It's not going. So if you have your little kid in there, you're sitting there with your daughter, you're trying to teach her about civic activism and civic involvement and stuff. If the Satanist comes up with that, it's not going to shock her, and she's going to run home kind of in a panic.
Unless you have twerkers there. I mean, that might be crossing. I don't see that in a Disney movie.
That could be a hell of a Disney movie. Wait, wasn't Miley Cyrus a Disney girl once?
Was being the key word. Okay, so last year then in Florida, they had this nativity scene. And again, I think some atheist groups, maybe the Central Florida one, said, okay, if you want a religious nativity scene in there, we could put up an atheist display. The Freedom from Religion Foundation can put up an atheist display there. And explain to people what you did to get a Festivus poll in there.
Okay, well, let me stop for just a second. So if we're talking about Tallahassee, let me give you a shout out to actually the Tallahassee atheists. There's some badass mothers up there too. John, Jean, and my buddy Austin. They're very involved. They're really up to speed and every day plug away at this. So they're alongside with me. But 2 years ago, with the Festivus poll, well, let me back up. It actually started in 2012. City of Deerfield Beach, little town north of Lauderdale, about 15 miles where I lived, would put up a manger and menorah on taxpayer property, right there at the fire station, right in the heart of downtown. Every year I tell them, "Can we stop this, please? Hello, hello, hello," and they ignored me. So in 2012 I said, "Well, let me put up a poll. Can I put up my own display?" And they said, "Sure. What is it?" I said, "I'll get back to you." We came up with the Festivus poll made out of beer cans, Pabst Blue Ribbon beer cans, and there's a whole story behind it, just sort of organically involved. In 2013, about this time, well, actually, it was late November 2013. On my blog, my Access Edition, I got an email in from a reader said, by the way, did you know Tallahassee is putting up just a proof for a manger? Oh, shit. So I wrote to Tallahassee, let me in, thinking that there's no way they're going to let me in. And I gave him a picture of the Festivus pole and explained it to him. 6 feet high, unadored, Pabst Blue Ribbon, doesn't have any power, doesn't have any moving parts. And a couple of days later, they said yes. And that blew me away. That blew me away. My lawyer was like, there's no way they're going to be, remember, I was talking to him on the phone. Oh, there's no way that you're going to be in. And then the email comes in and approves us. So what happened was the story became what it became, which was an international sensation for about 3 weeks for two reasons. One, Gretchen Carlson, the talking head for Fox News, she bitched about it, saying that she was pissed off that the beer can Festivus pole was blocking her and her kids' view of the manger. Little Jesus abandoned it at night in the snow. And then two, when she picked that up, there was no other news going on at the time. So it was, the holiday seasons, and there was no shootings, there's no craziness like going on today. So it was kind of a lull. So it was the perfect storm at the perfect time. I made it on Daily Show a couple times. I made it on Colbert. They were talking about me in Australia. That was the most mind-boggling thing to think about. I made it all the way on the other side of the globe for 16 beer cans stacked on each other.
Okay, so how much of this, what's your goal, though, in doing all this?
What is my goal? So my personal goal?
Yeah.
My personal goal, two forms. So let me answer it a couple different ways. What do I get out of this? Nothing. Well, let's talk about financial. There are people now that think because of my 2015 endeavors that this is a big money grab for me, right? I've been doing activism. I have, before we started all the separation of church and state, I helped throw 3 elected officials into jail, corrupt elected officials in South Florida. So my beat was corruption. But there's no money, there's no notoriety, there's no nothing there to be had, right? You can't do anything with it. And there's nothing special about it. There's corrupt officials in your hometown, just like my hometown. So when I pivoted to separation of church and state, and I pivoted to this, realizing that these are really great rails, right? Gay pride and Festivus pole and church and state and religion. These are things that are viral, that can be talked about across America. So this 2015 thing where I'm selling, we're raising some money. Everybody says that Chaz, it's a money grab. I've not made a penny of this out of my 10 years of activism. I don't even pay for my hosting my blog every month. It comes out of my own pocket. So the thought that activism is, a great way of, it's a financial, generating machine. People that say that obviously are not activists because
right. I mean, any activist knows you're not making money from being in the news or anything like that. That's fine. Okay, so what are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah. So that's the deal. So on the one side, here's the deal though. I just wanted to make sure I straighten that up. What do I care about? Two things. A, I'm an attention whore, and B, I'm not quite sure why, but I discovered I don't do many things in life right, but I discovered I have a knack of getting in the press now. I can get in the press. I don't know why. There's a lot smarter, better looking people than me in the world, but I can raise awareness to an issue. So here I am. I'm going to push the issue, which is I am a militant atheist. You know that you and I bumped heads when we first met. I am going to stick my nose right in it, and I'm going to whack you on the shins with a stick. So I'm just going to continue to irritate and to frustrate and to get people to think of it.
Okay, so let me push back then a little bit. Do you think that if any of this is bad publicity, and it very well could be, I mean, again, there's Festivus pole, which is quirky and amusing, but some of this, and this is where we've butted heads in the past, some of it's just you're a dick. So if it's bad publicity, does that help get people on your side on these issues?
Here's the deal. I have been, with my activism, my life has been threatened. I've been shot at. My dog has been poisoned. I've been sued several times. I have a lawyer. I have 2 lawyers now on a retainer. I have problems when some of my clients find out what I do for my hobby, if you will. It hurts me, financially. I don't see any of these people who complain about my ways trying to help me out. So it's a selfish thing. I cannot figure out a game plan that is going to make everyone happy. I'm going to eventually irritate someone. So why not cut to the chase and try to just do my own thing?
But you're going out of your way to irritate people.
Yeah. I don't have any money for advertising, so I got to figure out some way to get on the radar. So I put a Festivus poll up in Arkansas right near the Ten Commandments. What better way to get free advertising? I'm like Donald Trump. The guy spent $217,000 on campaign TV spots this presidential season. Bush has spent $25 million.
But this is kind of my point. Trump is not a guy you want to emulate here. I mean, yeah, he's getting the attention, but it doesn't mean you're helping per se. So, like, argue with me here, push back, feel free to. Explain to me how, if the point you're trying to make is, look, they shouldn't have these religious invocations, they shouldn't allow nativity scenes on public property. There's one approach that says, okay, well, if they're going to allow that one, then we're going to create a secular display to put up there. Or maybe the Satanic Temple is going to put their display in the Florida State Capitol building. There's another approach that you're taking that says, I'm going to do anything I can to make you squirm about putting my display in there.
Doesn't that just give you a boner?
Yeah.
God,
No.
I love the sound of it. Listen, bro, the difference between you and I mean this very respectfully, you're a nice guy. You have a great following. People look up to you. Right? You're well received in the whatever community we want to call ourselves, right? You're very well received. I'm not a role model. I'm not asking you to be anybody's role model. I'm not looking to join a team. I'm not looking for you to join my team. I'm doing what I think is best for myself.
But I appreciate the compliments, but here's where I'm going with that. The Festivus poll, there's no problem. I don't have a problem with that. I think that's clever, and I think it's funny. And I actually have supported, like, the idea of, look, if you're going to allow Christian invocations at a city council meeting, yeah, I kind of like the fact that you're pushing them to have to decide whether or not to take a satanic one. Which, by the way, are you an atheist or Satanist? Let's get that cleared. What is it?
I am an atheist. I've been called a satanic atheist, which I thought was just an amazing kind of play on words. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in heaven, hell, God, Satan. I might believe in Odin. He kind of kicked ass, and the Swedish babes liked him. So maybe Odin, but maybe that's just about it. For some of the people, even in Florida, and we've actually talked to David Williamson on this podcast, one of the things they're doing is if they will do exactly what you're doing. There's a Christian invocation. There's a lot of Christian invocations at the city council. We want to deliver a humanist one or an atheist one. And when they get that opportunity, and I've posted a bunch of these on my website, they're really respectful. They're super secular. They don't hide the fact that they're atheists at all. And it does make, I think, the same point that you want to make, which is, look, this is an atheist invocation. You, as city council members, have to deal with it if you're going to allow any of this, or you could just shut it down altogether. Go with the moment of silence if you want to. What's the benefit? What's the benefit of taking that extra edge and saying, we're going to go way over the top with the invocation we want to give? Well, all right. So let me get to the serious point, then I'll get to the not serious point. So the difference between Williamson and myself, and I think the world of David Williamson. I mean, I can't say enough nice things about the guy. All right. So there's nothing that he does as far as all this kind of stuff that I see him doing with these issues that I disagree with. I just disagree with where he's going with it. He's going with let's all play together. My answer is let's all shut the fuck up. Let's get right to the heart of the business, which is let's just get right to the heart of the business, which is let's talk about consent agendas, let's talk about ordinances, let's talk about variances, let's talk about zoning, let's talk about that shit right there, parking and police and security, and fire. There's only one item on a city agenda that's spiritual in nature or sort of spiritual in nature. Why? Just get rid of it. It seems to be kind of an appendix.
So you're saying, like, by taking your approach as opposed to we just want an atheist invocation, you're forcing them to make that decision instead of one that they might say, all right, we got an atheist, now we can go back to a Christian invocation. You're forcing their hand and saying you got to allow something ridiculous or you got to change what you're doing.
And I want to scare the living hell out of them with the perception that I'm going to go off on some tangent and do something. I don't know. Somebody's told me tomorrow. Listen, Chaz, Palm Beach, the town of Palm Beach, the expensive dollar sign Palm Beach, decided that instead of the city clerk doing the invocation, aka illegal, we're going to let you up here and do something. I don't know what that answer is. It'll be fun, I guarantee you. You'll blink your eyes and laugh, but I'm really trying to shut them down. That is my game plan. My game plan is, while I understand and respect the ruling of Greece, I don't think that there's an A and B, or just a B now, which is everybody. I think that I can, happen 4 times, going on 5 times, that I can force the hands and get them to shut the hell up.
Right. And to your credit, like you said, 4 times out of 4 so far, when they've had to make a decision, they've said, we're not doing invocations anymore. None of them have said, okay, come on down and do your invocation.
No, the guy in Coral Springs, Skip Campbell, who's a very devout Catholic fellow, he went and met the Pope, and the Pope came down this way, said that he was kind of flipped out that his residents weren't prepared to hear somebody talk about Satan. Well, what about those residents that aren't prepared to hear somebody talk about Jesus Christ? In my little town of Deerfield Beach, when I looked at, went back to the videos, there was a fella that said Jesus Christ's name 17 times in 3 minutes. Tell me, how's that not proselytizing?
Okay, so fair enough. I mean, it's working, so who am I to argue with that at that point? Let's talk about what you're doing now. So last year you had this Pabst Blue Ribbon Festivus poll. What are you doing differently this time around?
Okay, so this is a little bit more lighthearted than my Sane or Silence project, right? I think I can get a lot more people on board this than the other one, because the other one is just a little edgy. But earlier this year, the Supreme Court of the United States ruled that they reaffirmed a right. They said that, and my lawyer taught me this, that they acknowledged that the rights of people to have same-sex marriage were being denied, and that was unconstitutional. So all along, people of the same sex who wanted to marry boy, boy, girl, girl, they were being denied their right, which is discriminatory. So in a ruling 5-4, I guess, or 6-2, whatever the hell it was. 6-3. They said that same-sex marriage is the law of the land. So we jubilantly got excited around here. It was a real cool thing. For the record, I am white, I am male, and I'm heterosexual. I am privileged in America. I'm a privileged guy. I'm not going to be arrested. I'm not going to be shot at. And I'm an ally of the LGBT community. I am hopefully giving those folks who don't have a voice, and I got a rather large voice. So the Supreme Court said same-sex marriage, okay, and then we watched this, Kim Davis did her kind of crazy shit. Oh, and by the way, the lawyer who is representing Kim Davis are the lawyers who are going to be representing against us in court with our lawsuit against Lake County.
What is that lawsuit over?
Same thing. We have Lake County, about 40 miles north of Orlando. It is the red of redneck in Florida, and we picked them specifically to do a satanic invocation, and they just kind of flipped out. So
they said no, and you're going to court over this.
Well, not only did they say no, they said under no circumstances will a Satanist ever give an invocation here.
Okay.
Not just us, but a Satanist. So we thought, well, what about a local resident who's a Satanist? So the county commissioners, the guy in charge, his words are going to be a little problematic.
Okay.
All right. So where were we? Okay. So the same-sex marriage came out. Yada yada yada. Kim Davis, and then we decided, let us just add a dog whistle to our Festivus poll by wrapping it in the colors of gay pride. So we went and bought some gay pride flags, sent them to a seamstress. She makes these giant socks, or we call them our flag condoms, and then we just kind of put these socks over top of our Festivus pole, and there it is. We have a gay pride Festivus pole. Okay,
so you're trying to put this in the Florida State Capitol building, is that correct?
I have. So in South Florida, there's probably 6 cities. There's one up in Delray, which is in Palm Beach County. Got one up in Deerfield Beach. Got a couple coming up in South Florida. And then statewide, we've applied to Tallahassee. This will be our 3rd year. We've applied to Arkansas on Monday. That flipped everybody out. Arkansas's 10 Commandments. The state senator for Arkansas said that Ten Commandments are a historical document, and he doesn't understand what a gay poll has to do with the founding of America. So that was his very learned opinion. We got that. We're going to Texas, home to Ted Cruz. We're going to New Jersey, home to what's his name, Chris Christie.
New Jersey.
And as far as Mike Huckabee in Arkansas and Ted Cruz, we reached out to the campaign, and all I have to say is they've not yet rejected us. I really can't go any further than that.
So are you even allowed to put up polls in the state capitals in other states since you're not a resident there?
So when you look at the rules, for instance, the rules of Florida, I've not yet seen the rules of Texas. So when we looked at the rules of Florida, we looked at the rules of Arkansas. The rules are kind of like no power to your display, no moving parts. They can't make a political statement. It's got to be this, so big and so high kind of deal. Other than that, it doesn't really limit that. Some local cities beat up by the FFRF have changed their ordinances where that said that only local residents or organizations could put up displays. So we've run into that locally, but not at the state level.
Okay, so how are you getting these in those buildings? And are you talking to people locally and hoping that they will take the helms here and put up their own Festivus poll, which is really your Festivus poll?
Well, that would be really cool, but no. Wait, I forgot one. We're also going to Detroit, because there's the Satanic Temple up there.
Yes.
There's the Ted Cruz Nativity coming online next week. So Ted Cruz has got his nativity lighting. No, we're going to build them. We're going to pack them, and I'm going to fly out to Austin. I'm going to fly out to Arkansas. I'm going to fly up to Detroit and install it myself.
Okay, and I'm just trying to figure out the logistics of this.
Just keep that in mind. If I disappear, you don't hear from me. Check Arkansas, in the backwoods of Arkansas, because it ended ingloriously.
Have any of these states said yes or no to you? Like, have you gotten a response from them either way?
No, I have not yet.
Okay, so we're waiting to hear on that.
Correct.
If they say no, is that a legal problem? Because you don't live there.
That's not a rule of theirs, so they're making up rules on the fly.
Okay.
It's a problem for them. It's not a problem for me. There is no losing situation here for me.
So they don't say on their websites you have to be a resident of this state in order to put up a display.
There's like a 3-page application, and page 2 of the application is here are the rules of the road, and there's no ordinance or regulation that for residency.
So what do you hope to accomplish? Let's say they all say yes. I mean, what is that? Do you hope they say yes, or do you hope they reject you so you could kind of start the discussion, start a fight about this?
Either way. If they say yes, we pack a 6'6" tall disco ball topped purple glitter painted gay Festivus pole, and we go to Arkansas, and when we try not to get killed or shot by the rednecks out there, and we stick our pole on the ground, we erect it, and then we dance around it for a bit, and then we get out of town real quick.
And what reaction has been your favorite so far when you've put up the Festivus poll last year or the Gay Pride one this year?
I carry 2 phones, right? I have my personal phone or my business phone or public phone that everybody knows, and I have a personal phone that I carry for family members, kind of an emergency bat phone.
Yeah.
I'm in Tallahassee. It's the poll's done. I spent the afternoon on the phone in front of cameras. It was the oddest moment of my life. I felt like Paris Hilton with the paparazzi. And my phone rings. It's like 2:00 in the morning. I'm lying there in bed with my girlfriend in the hotel room up in Tallahassee. And the phone rings. It's my private phone line. I'm like, who the hell is, what's going on? Family member calling me at 2:00 in the morning. Not good news, right?
Right.
And it was this stone cold sober fella from Oklahoma who tells me, sober as a judge says, I'm in Oklahoma. I'm getting in my truck right now. I'm going to come to Florida. I'm going to find you. I'm going to blind you with a soldering iron, and then I'm going to torture you for 2 days.
Jesus.
Yeah.
What'd you do with that?
It was, what do you do with that? You sort of just say, well, that was weird. Have a good day and Merry Festivus.
Did you report that to anyone?
Yeah, I have. But who do you report it to, right? I have great, BSO, Broward Sheriff's Organization. I have great deep contacts there. So the next day I ring my fellows up down there and I say, here's what happened and what they did. What did they look into, right? Block numbers, that kind of stuff.
Did
anything? But it was really freaking weird.
I'm sure it was. So you mentioned your girlfriend. What does she think of all this?
She has been so her upbringing is her mom is a Joel Osteen watching kind of woman, and she's been supportive of me. I've kind of rallied her around. I gave her some things to think about and everything else, and she's come into my cause. I would say that she's been very supportive.
Very good.
She hasn't disagreed with me. She's been quiet about it, so that's what I love about her.
Okay. And so if anyone wants to put up a Festivus poll, the new one, in their neck of the woods, what can they do?
Okay, so there's a couple ways to do this, right? So there's the way of helping my cause out. So you go online, you find our Generosity Indiegogo project, you throw a few shekels our way. We're going to send you a poll. We're going to build a poll. We're going to fly out and put a poll up somewhere, and then whatever money we have left over goes to a charity. So this is not again, not a money grab for me. So that's what we're going to do. If you don't want to do that way, you're a cheap bastard. Then plan B, which is build your own pole. However you do it. Dan O'Keefe says it doesn't have to be out of aluminum. So grab a stick, wrap it with a gay pride, whatever you want to do. All I ask is if you do that, take a selfie, put the hashtag #MyGayPridePole, and then put it up on Twitter and show the world.
Got it. Chaz, are you working on anything else in the coming year? You mentioned a couple lawsuits.
The Saint or Silence thing is really gonna take off for us. So we have a few ideas. We just literally ran out of time with all the stuff we're doing. Plus, I do have a day job. Plus, I do have a family. So it's just a very hectic time. But I'm sure you and I are going to cycle back January or February, and I'll have some updates about the invocations. We're going to take it. We have some ideas on how to take it on the road. Now that we understand how to make an issue viral, like we've learned here with the Festivus poll, we're going to make our Satan or Silence viral. And if you start seeing it sprouting up in Wichita or Spokane or Sheboygan, you know that our project's getting some headway.
Got it. Chaz, thank you so much for your time, and good luck this holiday.
Merry Festivus to you, sir.
Merry Festivus.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the podcast for FriendlyAtheist.com. This episode was taped at Cinnamon Sound Studios in Aurora, Illinois, and the music was written and performed by Brad Chagdis. If you like what you're hearing, please consider making a contribution at patreon.com/Hemant, that's He-Man T. We appreciate your support. I'm Hemant Mehta.
And I'm Jessica Blumke. We hope you'll join us next time.